Adam Silver has had enough. He's on a shop-cleaning trip right now. The focus of this dispute is WNBA Commissioner Cathy Angelbert. Due to allegations of financial ties, biased refereeing, and a failure to protect the league's best player, her leadership has come under fire. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has now taken a firm stance and started a thorough investigation of the WNBA's officiating and executive procedures for the 2024 to 2025 campaign. At this time, everything completely goes wrong. Explosive leaks have shown financial ties between Angelbert and particular referees. Could she have been the brains behind a system that singled out Caitlin Clark unfairly? This week has been crazy for the WNBA. As he attempts to clean up the mess, Silver's direct approach signals a radical shift for the WNBA and may also spell the end of Angelbert's tenure. Caitlin Clark had more than the usual rookie issues, as was clear from her first Indiana Fever game. In addition, referees seemed to overlook violent acts directed at her, with dubious calls and uncalled fouls increasingly frequent. Videos of Clark taking elbows, late hits, and hard screens went popular on social media as fans took notice. Incidents that often went unpunished. By the middle of the season, a pattern had been established. Clark's officiating style was out of the ordinary and not typical of her. Favor. But here's what they're not telling you. The issue extended beyond physical play and welcome to the league moments, despite what some people said. Did you know that during the 2025 season, Clark received an unusually high number of uncalled infractions compared to her peers? According to internal league stats obtained through unapproved means, Clark was involved in 28% more non-alleged contact situations per game than other top rookies like Cameron Brink or Angel Ree. These incidents, which were observed by impartial specialists, included uncalled fouls on drives to the basket and off-ball contact that disrupted her rhythm. The distinction was glaring. Ree and Brink averaged 1.2 and 1.4 uncalled contacts per game, respectively, while Clark averaged 2.3. All of this was not the rough love of veterans. It was a systemic issue that went unchecked. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get much worse, there were signs of a bigger problem. Following the release of a leaked email exchange in June 2025, social media posts asserting that certain WNBA referees have financial incentives linked to Angelbert's inner circle began to circulate in early 2025. Previously dismissed as fan-driven conspiracy theories, these claims gained increasing recognition. A prominent WNBA official reporter and referee coordinator reportedly stated that officials who backed league aims would receive optional remuneration. It was observed that the emails were received shortly after a heated Fever game in which Clark was obviously annoyed by the lack of calls, even though his name wasn't mentioned explicitly. At this moment, things take an unexpected turn. The leaks suggest that Angelbert's administration may have influenced officials to lessen Clark's dominance in order to balance the league's narrative around other players. Cathy Angelbert was initially hailed as a shrewd businesswoman who could increase the league's visibility. Although she had a reputation for financial savvy due to her experience as CEO of Deloitte, some argue she lacked the basketball savvy essential to understand the competitive and cultural aspects of the league. This is the moment then things get more stranger. During her tenure, the WNBA's officiating rules were criticized, particularly for how they handled Clark. Angelbert repeatedly downplayed the issue in his public statements, portraying Clark's treatment as a normal part of the game's toughness. In a September 2024 CNBC interview, she steered clear of discussing fan-driven racial and cultural conflicts in favor of the media's fabrication of the Bird magic moment of Clark and Reese's feud, even though it couldn't be further from the truth. This response was sharply condemned by players like Breanna Stewart and the WNBA, who demanded stronger leadership because it failed to address officiating or condemn toxic fan behavior. Disparities. However, here is the bit that nobody saw coming. The monetary relationships. Despite the lack of hard proof, the emails that were made public revealed a questionable plan in which certain referees received payment from outside consulting firms associated with Angelbert's former colleagues. That's how suspicious it is. These businesses were reportedly hired to offer bids and guidance on league operations. Instead, they gave money to representatives who were seen as reliable in maintaining the level of competitiveness. The conclusion was clear. Clark's star power intimidated other players, and it was thought that Engelbert's administration employed biased officiating to level the playing field. According to sources, the exact monetary amounts of these bonuses are still undisclosed. However, they range from $5,000 to $15,000 per referee per season. Small sums on an individual basis, yet enough to influence decisions when distributed among a select group of authority. Angelberg has made valiant attempts, but to no avail, to minimize the damage. The outcome will surprise you. In a statement issued in July 2025, she evasively denied any wrongdoing, but her efforts to quell the controversy only served to heighten it. Her reputation took yet another hit when it was discovered that Angelbert was quietly preparing to step down. According to league insiders, she was caught off surprise by the criticism, but had been informed for months about the escalating tensions. But Adam Silver is well known in these circles for his handling of the 2014 Donald Sterling scandal and has never shied away from making tough choices. I swear, it becomes much more unbelievable. In July 2025, Silver announced a thorough review of WNBA officiating for the 2025 season, with an emphasis on referees and executives who created the league's regulations. The purpose of this gesture was not symbolic. Silver demanded a thorough review of financial records, focusing on any possible ties between Angelbert's administration and officiating crews. The investigation is being led by an independent firm that examines game logs, referee assignments, and payment records to look for any indications of bias, particularly directed at Clark. Silver's stance is uncompromising. In one of his seldom public speeches, he stated, "This is not about one player. The integrity of the league is at stake here. But here's why you should care about this." Silver's actions preempt a more significant reckoning for the WNBA, which has received NBA support for over 20 years at an estimated cost of $15 to $20 million annually. Despite the 2024 watching spike to 1.2 million viewers per game, up 170% from 2023, the WNBA's financial losses persist, indicating that the NBA's tolerance is reaching a breaking point. Silver reportedly thinks Clark is a game-changing talent who resembles a young LeBron James. Mistreatment of her could alienate her new fans, introduced to the league. In private meetings, he has pushed for the league and the referees who officiated the most horrible knolls to issue formal apologies to Clark. By the end of this, you'll understand why this is so important. Silver's investigation aims to do more than just clean up officiating. The leadership of the WNBA is being informed that it is no longer possible to rely exclusively on NBA revenue. The first step toward the league's independence is safeguarding its talent. The impact of Clark cannot be denied. Her games are featured on 18 of the 21 WNBA broadcasts in 2024 that drew over 1 million viewers. But without her, the league's entertainment value has struggled to keep up with emerging NBA storylines, such as the Cooper Flag versus Bronny James rivalry, which has captured audiences' attention with its unique storyline. The Dallas Mavericks selected James first overall in 2025, carrying on his father's legacy and flag, and he has received more social media engagement than most WNBA games outside of Clark's sphere of influence. Poor management can be shown in the experience Caitlin Clark had while working under Engelbert's direction. She had to cope with inadvertent but subtle slights. In addition to the uncalled fouls, Clark was oddly only permitted to play 15 minutes in the 2024 All-Star Game, even though he had a league-high 8.4 assists per game. Afterward, the decision was made by superiors who wanted to emphasize veterans above the rising star, according to coaches and experts. This went beyond a simple slight. It was a calculated move to lessen Clark's influence, driven by Angelbert's obsession with preserving the league's narrative equilibrium. It is at this moment that everything changes. Clark's strength was clear in spite of the adversity. Even though he averaged 19.22 points and guided the squad to the playoffs. Nevertheless, she received the 2024 WNBA Rookie of the Year award. But the price was obvious. Clark complained in post-game interviews about being an official, but she remained composed and said, "I just want to play basketball and be treated fairly." However, Her fans lacked self-control and flooded social media with complaints over Angelbert's coaching and the referee's apparent personal grudge. As Angelbert quietly prepares to depart, she leaves a history of missed possibilities. Rather than exploiting Clark's celebrity to negotiate a standalone media agreement, she linked the WNBA's $2.2 billion, 11-year contract to the NBA's larger package. Although this decision was sensible, it diminished the WNBA's potential because analysts estimate that an independent deal could have generated $3.5 billion. In contrast, the final development was surprising, and Silver is calling for fundamental adjustments, including more referee oversight. The accused referees may be subject to fines and possibly legal action if Silver's investigation finds financial irregularities. His apology to Clark is a powerful and heartfelt gesture. The WNBA stars must come first if it is to succeed. As the league resolves this matter, one thing is clear. Adam Silver is willing to damage Angelbert's legacy in order to address the significant flaws in the unfair treatment of Caitlin Clark. For more updates, kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it.